We'll bring the meeting of the Design Adjustment Committee to order. First, I need to read an introductory statement. The DAC's purpose is to establish clear and measurable review criteria for the consideration of major deviations from the city's tech standards and specifications. The DAC does not consider housing type, cost of the proposed unit, occupants, the building material, unit size, number of bedrooms, or the architectural design of the structures. These hearings are quasi-judicial, evidentiary hearings. This means it's like a court hearing, and the committee's decisions are constrained by the standards in the ordinance and based on the facts presented. All variance requests require a 4/5 vote of the committee to grant the variance. Appeals to the DAC, or appeals of the DAC decisions, are to the Superior Court. A written notice of appeal must be filed with the clerk within 30 days of the DAC's decision. Appeals are set for hearing before the Superior Court within 30 days or as soon as thereafter practicable. The parties to these cases are entitled to an impartial board. If a board member has a fixed opinion about a matter, a financial interest in the outcome, a close relationship with an affected person, or has any ex parte communication about the matter, please disclose that information to determine if a recusal is necessary. City staff will introduce the proposed project to the DAC, and the DAC members may ask questions. The applicant may present additional information about the project, and the members may ask questions of the applicant. If anyone wishes to provide evidence at today's hearing, witnesses must sign in on the clipboard at the back of the room and be sworn in. Because witnesses are to provide sworn testimony, please focus on the facts and standards, not personal preference or opinion. When a witness comes forward to give testimony, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and speak clearly. At this time, staff will administer an oath to individuals who intend to provide witness testimony.
If I could have staff, applicants, and any members of the public who wish to speak to please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the first order of business is to approve the previous meeting minutes. Are there any comments or corrections to the previous meeting minutes? And if not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
All right, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. So on to the agenda. Item 1 of the agenda is old business, titled Aberley at Wilmington, and it'll be introduced by staff.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the applicant is requesting a continuance of this item, not to a date certain, so it will be re-advertised and brought back before the committee.
All right, thank you. I guess to allow the continuance, it needs to be voted on by the board?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve a continuance for Aberley at Wilmington?
Motion to continue to a date uncertain.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Item 2 on the agenda is new business for River Lights Conventional Subdivisions Phases 5 and 6 road connection. This item will be presented by staff.
Good afternoon. This is a request to modify an approved preliminary plan for a road connection with a design adjustment. The proposed road connection is Folklore Way. It's located between River Lights Conventional Subdivisions Phases 5 and 7. It is included in the approved plans for conventional Phase 7. Both of these subdivisions are currently zoned R7C, medium density single dwelling conditional district. Our technical standards and specifications require street cross sections for residential streets to include 5-foot sidewalks on both sides of the street, and the applicant proposes to eliminate the sidewalk on the western side of Folklore Way due to the crossing of wetlands, and an adjustment is required. I have the proposed section of Folklore Way shown, and then the proposed street cross section to the right, and I also have the grading plan if the the committee needs to see that. That's all that staff has. The representative from River Lights is here to answer any questions you might have, and staff is available to answer questions as well.
Thank you, Brian. Does anybody have any questions of staff? The only question I have is, in the original laying out of all of this, were any of these wetlands kind of identified, or like up front, like this could be problematic when we come to full build?
I'd have to defer to the applicant as to when this was identified. I know it came through with phases 7 and 8. I think at that time they hadn't gotten far enough down the road, sorry for the pun, to figure out how they were going to address this crossing. They knew it was problematic, but at that time they weren't ready to address it, and they knew they would always have to come back to address the issue at some point, and this is what we're doing today.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Brian, just to be clear, the request is to eliminate the sidewalk on the western side of Folklore for the entire distance between the two intersections shown on the screen?
Yes, I believe there will be crosswalks at either, at the intersections to the north and south to provide folks to get across the street and use that one side of the sidewalk.
Awesome, thank you.
Without any other questions, well, I guess we'll invite the applicant.
All right, thank you.
Would the applicant like to present any material?
Good afternoon. Dennis, I don't really have anything to add. Obviously, I think Brian did a good job. If it gets too technical, I'm going to be completely out of my realm here.
Sir, if you could state your name for me onto the record, thank you.
Sure. My name is Nick Casella. I'm with Brookfield Properties and River Lights.
Thank you. I guess same question to you, Nick. Approximately when was this kind of issue identified? Is Section 5 or conventional Phase 5, is it fully built out?
Section 5 is completely built and nearing build out of the homes as well. So we're moving into Section 7, which is the replacement for 5 and 6, which are combined. As Brian mentioned, we've known that we've had a constraint here for some time. We've been working through it for a number of months and discussed several different options and dismissed about as many as we've discussed and landed here thinking this is the most practical to preserve the maximum amount of wetlands or minimize the impacts and still make the connectivity, the pedestrian connectivity that's needed here.
Okay. And just for clarity, kind of based on Travis's question earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I see on the screen and what was presented appears to be like a mid-block crossing, not a crossing at each intersection?
That is correct. My apologies. I didn't, looking at the screen from up there was hard to decipher. There is a proposed mid-block crossing right to the south of the proposed bridge.
Okay, so.
My apologies.
And it looks like it's equally distant between the adjacent intersections. Okay. And also based on the diagram, it looks like there's 25 feet of roadway. Is that, the font's really small on there, but I see a 12.5-foot dimension on there. I'm guessing that's face of curb to
Yes, there's proposed 25 feet of asphalt
25 feet of asphalt.
and
Okay.
then 2 foot of curb and gutter on either side.
So, okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions at this time? All right, thank you. I can't guarantee we won't have more questions, but
Okay,
we'll
thank you.
talk about it for a minute.
We do have an engineer in the room now if needed, so.
Okay, thank you.
Can you just raise your right hand for me? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, thank you. And at this time, I'll open up the floor to any public comments. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this matter? And seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Is there any discussion of the committee on this matter? I think for me, it looks obvious that there's a natural constraint making it difficulty to attain sidewalk on both sides. I would like to see maybe an enhancement of that mid-block crossing in some way. If, 25 feet of asphalt is a pretty good exposure to a pedestrian crossing the road. It's a stick-straight piece of road. I know we have a kind of a mid-block crossing standard that we're working toward. It's not currently in our standard, but anything, I would like to see some kind of narrowing of the travel way through that, right where that crosswalk is. Would that be amenable from the pedestrian perspective?
Yeah, that was going to be my only discussion point, was your thoughts on protecting safety at that mid-block, so I would support that recommendation.
Okay. I guess at this point, I'd like to invite the applicant up to discuss that.
Obviously, the request is certainly reasonable. Is there a standard that you want us to refer to?
I would think maybe through the TRC process, we could, or this doesn't go to TRC, I forgot about that. So, I know one thing we've been working towards is having 20 feet of asphalt through a mid-block crossing, so 10-foot travel lanes through the crossing. So if there any way to bump out the curbing in that area.
I think that's certainly, we're certainly able to do that.
Okay.
More than willing to do it, so
Okay.
we like the idea.
All right. So you'll be carrying, so just so I'm clear, there'll be sidewalk across the top of the road as we see it on this screen.
Correct.
There will be sidewalk midway on the bottom side of the screen, but no sidewalk continuing to whatever that J-shaped road is. They'll cross mid-block and then, yeah.
Yep, as you're looking from right to left, the sidewalk will keep going along Folklore Way until it gets to that last single-family home. We have the mid-block crossing that you're referring to, and as you continue to travel left on the screen, past where the wetland pinch is, you'll see at that T intersection where the road kind of curves out at lot 571, their sidewalk will pick up there. We are not currently showing another sidewalk crossing until we get to the next intersection.
Okay. Is there a wheelchair ramp at that intersection?
At the mid-block or at the intersection?
At that J-shaped intersection?
Yeah. There's ADA ramps on either side.
Okay, that is not shown. That's what you were saying. There's a ramp there, but it is not shown on these plans?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Just want to make sure that if the pedestrians get on that side of the road, they can get back.
Yeah, there are ADA ramps provided at that intersection, just like you see on the screen at the last visible one, I should say.
Okay. All right. So I'm not sure how providing design standards to the applicant would go, but I'm sure we could work through that if you're amenable to.
Dennis, I think we understand what you're requesting, and if it's acceptable, we can just submit something to staff and have them approve it. Would that be acceptable to you?
The committee
the
can make a
committee?
condition that TRC look at the enhanced crosswalk with the conditions that the pavement be 20 feet wide with bump outs, and the TRC and the applicant work together on what that design ultimately looks like.
Okay, that'll work. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion by the committee?
Get a quick question to staff. When you evaluate this proposed crosswalk, I'm sure the staff knows about what we don't really want from the fire standpoint is having an elevated that looks like a speed bump or something that's through there for fire apparatus. I think that has been dealt with in previous projects before. because of the elevated crosswalk, then it's basically going to be something similar to a speed hump, which we don't go very well with.
Yes, sir, staff is well aware, and we welcome you guys to make that part of the condition so it's very clear.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we just have the single variance to vote on here. Is there a motion regarding the variance for sidewalk on one side of the street only to include a mid-block crosswalk? I'll just go ahead and make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the request with the condition that this mid-block crossing is modified in a way to be reviewed by TRC to include curb bump outs, curb extensions, and to restrict the asphalt travel way to 20 feet. Horizontal adjustments only, no vertical component to the asphalt structure. And with the additional recommendations of staff. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. I guess that concludes, or,
This is a modification to a preliminary plan, so you'll need to vote on the plan and the conditions included in the staff report.
okay, maybe that's where I got confused previously. Okay. So, help me through that one, Brian. I always, so say that one more time.
Since we're modifying our preliminary plan, we have to approve that preliminary plan with this change added. So you'll just be voting to approve the preliminary plan with the conditions included in the report.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So is there a motion to approve the preliminary plan with the modifications?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, preliminary plan is approved with the conditions. And at that point, that concludes the meeting.
Yes, staff has no further items.
Thank you.